I'm just going to quickly say to your last point that I founded my first company as well when I was 24. So we have one more thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's really funny. I guess we can
That
go
is
on
funny.
in a, yeah. So yeah, now, I just, before I move into the demo of the online platform, I want to give you the reasoning as to why we set it up. I mean, Al, I'm sorry, I apologize. I've taken you through this point before, but I think it's worthwhile to share with Christian the mission of why, we decided to create this platform. So Christian and Al, again, going back to why we set up GBI. So I had worked for Bill Clinton's climate initiative for 3 years. And our whole focus in those 3 years was really to look at deploying clean technologies around the world. And before that, the previous 15 years, I'd worked with the US government and, various other private entities, again, focused on deploying energy efficiency and renewable energy solutions into India. So all of my work has been funded by government entities, NGOs, or private corporates, or the SMEs themselves to deploy their technology into new markets. So I was just sharing, like we've worked now, including the work we have done on a European Commission grant. We worked with close to 200 clean technology companies from around the world, and we've helped them in different capacities. In sense, for some of them we've helped build an ecosystem in India. For some of them we've helped, connect them with customers and investors. With some of them we've done, we've validated the technology for the new market, including finding customers and partners. For some of them we have worked, on commercializing. For some of them we have done, feasibility studies looking at commercialization. So for various companies, we've helped them in different capacities. So, the tipping point for us at GBI, which is the parent company, was when we were working with 200 technologies, and we were also at the same time getting all of this demand mostly from India and also different parts of Asia from organizations who wanted technologies and from investors. So we started to document it, and we were documenting it on Word formats, which we prepared in-house. We developed these formats, and then we were also documenting it on Excel. But we did not have, a formal tool to manage this. So we were managing this manually, 3 or 4 of us, all of these requests, and then doing the deals, helping them with the market entry process, and so on and so forth. And then we began to say, how do we professionalize ourselves? How do we make this better and better? So the first thing we did was created a technology management interface, TMI. And I'm going to quickly skip to that slide, which talks about our process where we helped individual companies enter the Indian market and commercialize. So if you look at this process, it takes you through validation and partner identification. Having a local technology representation. Now, a lot of this process we have developed having, taken a lot of time, figured this out, and then we said, when we know that this is what works, let's just bring the process up front to the customer and tell them what they need to do to be successful in a new market to deploy their technologies. So we know one of the things to succeed in India is to have a representative in the market. And then, and GBI can be that representative basically. And if you look at all of these actions which we have listed, these are all the services we basically provide, but we've documented it all into a one-shot service so people can see and visualize what they need to do to be successful. So in the medium term, they need to do business analytics, which really means techno-commercial analysis and revenue projection for the local market, your business model, localize your technology, which is what we call technology indigenization, manage your IP, do a demo, and then maybe after your demo, focus a bit on technology product development in the local market, then move to commercialization with the right kind of financial advisory as well as government liaison. So we have been doing that now, and some of our clients that have been using this, are SMEs. We also have multinational clients, by the way, like Bosch, who are using the same process. We have startups using the same process from the US, and then we are also working with a few international government utilities I've shared this list with Al. Al, have you been able to, have you shared the email with the presentation with Christian and the others so far?
Yes, I did. I shared your email with both Christian and Mark. When I was setting up the telecon. And by the way, I just received, or I received a few minutes ago, an email from Mark. He's online, but he can only listen. He can't speak and see the slides, but he's been listening.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. Okay, good. So, with this process and with now this inventory of 200 technologies, we were like, how do we scale, and how do we really reach out to more people? And the biggest problem actually we were also trying to solve was, there is this process of getting into a new market is very time consuming and is also cost intensive. So how do you really help people save money and time when they're exploring a new market? And so we decided that yes, we need to kind of take this entire thing online with one, to inventorize the technologies, to really have all the technologies we're working with in one place. Two, to inventorize the market opportunities that were coming up from all over the world. And three, most importantly, to manage it. So how do we manage it? Because the most important feature of the GTI platform, which we will take you through, is that we are going to curate each and every tech company that comes online and curate each and every request for technology that comes online, and then actually manage the connection and deployment into the new market. So that's really the purpose, with which we set up, we decided. So we've been working on the platform for a year. We were actually supposed to go live a few months ago, but I'm so happy we're going live this Friday. And what I think I've already spoken about GBI as a company. So, what essentially, we have done is created now that the online platform, you will be taken through it in a few minutes. What I want to tell you is that this is not just an online play. What we have done is, really brought together an online offline play. So really a conjugation of GTI with what we do on the ground, which is the TMI process. So I just want you to realize that, this we don't see this working as a pure online play, but as an online offline play. This can be extremely valuable for all of us who are working on something like this. And we really believe that we need to have global nodal points. So Christian, the fact that you already have these people in the clean tech space around the world is wonderful. And then how can we really leverage these nodal points to to really scale these actions? And one of the other things that Al and I were discussing is the whole GTED phenomenon that you all are working on creating at Little Rock. And we believe that each of these nodal points should have a GTED, where now if you have the GTI demonstrating the technology virtually, we should give the opportunity to these tech companies to at some point demonstrate at the GTEDs at the different nodal points. So this is like the overall strategic vision. And with to just kind of lay the background to the platform itself. And I'm just going to hand over very quickly to Ajay, who has developed the GTI platform, so you can hear from the horse's mouth how this is all going to play out.
Excellent, thank you.
So we're just sharing, we're just handing over the screen to Ajay. So yeah.
Ajay, I think you need to unmute yourself. I don't know if you don't. Hello.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Good morning to people there, and good evening, Lena and Harsha. So thanks for the introduction. And are you guys able to see my screen before I continue?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I got involved with the GTI platform development, there was a discussion that I was involved in with Lena. There was a specific requirement from GBI to build a platform that kind of makes it easy, that enables people to save time and energy in terms of finding technology and partners for collaboration, and bringing the strength of GBI into an online platform and virtualizing that strength so that it can multiply the effect of what they've been doing offline into the online world. So there was a specific requirement in terms of how do we kind of mimic working of an offline entity into an online world and still maintain the sanctity of it and maintain the powers of the online as such is concerned, and make sure that people use the platform the way it is supposed to be used. So the platform is developed to kind of cater to two specific needs. One we call as the technology seeker or discoverer, and the other is the technology displayer, who'll be the part of the collaboration platform. And both of these entities are brought together for their collaboration requirement by a GTI curator, as Lena had mentioned before, to enable these people to kind of connect, discover, connect, and kind of egg them on for them to kind of form the right deals or form the right partnerships and collaborations that's required for them to progress in whatever line of work that they're doing. So the platform is a subscription-based platform. So there is like some, so the usage of the platform in terms of the actions within the platform is limited for a non-subscribed or a non-registered user. The reason it is kept that way is to ensure that any user within the platform is vetted, is real, and has the real need to collaborate, and there's a potential business opportunity that is there. And unlike a social platform where we can have anyone and everyone participate, in a technology partnership kind of a portal, it is very important that real people are there, and there is a confidence level built that whenever someone makes a request for a connection, they are not just connecting with some random person who is connecting for whatever reasons that they want. So, stating that, so I will start off with going through the admin side, which is basically the primary aspect from which the entire platform works. So the GBA admin as such has multiple actions within the platform. Please stop me if you're not able to see my screen or if I'm going too fast. Is everyone able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see that there are multiple actions that an admin performs within the platform. One is any profile that is created within the platform gets visible in the public domain only when the GBI team has vetted it and has approved it to be visible within the platform. So based on their subscription level, based on the type that they want, there is a physical verification that happens, and then there's an approval provided, and then the profile becomes visible for others to view. Even if there is an update in the profile, there isn't any addition or anything that the user does, it has to be vetted by the GTI or GBI admin before it becomes public. So this enables that there is no falsehood or any wrong profiles that is there. The second is basically connection. So the platform, I'll show you the power of it a little later when we go through that. But this platform enables two entities, the seeker and the discoverer, to connect within the platform. So there is a messaging board that is started for them to kind of communicate requirements within the platform. The beauty of it is it's not just like a chat engine where there's a random message that happens, but it is moderated by a GTI admin who's also present as a part of that communication to kind of guide them through different steps of collaboration based on whatever is their background of connection is. So that is like the powerful engine that has been built, which enables three-way messaging that happens, moderated messaging that happens, with GBI being the center of that. The second thing is, the other thing is the GBI admin also can integrate online and offline events within the platform. So there can be webinars that can be hosted within the platform. Then there is offline events for which the registrations and everything else can happen within the platform. So that is another thing that happens. And the news and communications, which is basically updating companies within the platform as to the the current edge in terms of technology, whatever is the new sharing knowledge and everything else happens through that. So these are the three. So everything that happens within the platform is moderated by these 7 simple boxes that you see. The beauty of it is these 7 simple boxes is kind of hidden away from the end user. So the complexity of the entire system is kind of taken away from the end user and put into the GTI bin, where the entire moderation happens. Whereas for the end user, it is as simple as just click, search, find, connect, and go ahead and do what they want. So for this demo purpose, what we will do is we will go through 3 different profiles. So the first profile that we will be going through is a technology displayer. So this displayer is basically what we mean by displayer is this is a company which is registered within the platform. Can you see the profile page right now? You should be able to see a product,
Yes.
videos and everything else. Okay, so this is a company which is registered within the GTI platform as a technology displayer. So they describe in terms of what are the different products that they want to display within the platform. So they have the ability to kind of add multiple products that they want to display. They can add videos into this, and the other thing they can do is basically they can have multiple attachments. So the platform is built in a way that there is secure documents that can be uploaded, which can be marked as post-NDA or open documents. So if I am a seeker and I come into the particular profile of this company, until and unless I have an NDA signed off with this organization, these documents that is available in my own view is not available to the seeker. And if there is a request made, then there is a passkey that has to be given, and only on that passkey that these documents get open for a seeker. So there is a bit of confidentiality and security built into the platform to ensure that no one will come into the platform just for the sake of getting the information and using it offline without any consent from the product provider or the technology provider that is there. So you can actually in this screen see 3 to 4 things which I will go through one by one. One is, as I said, there is a product listing, so there can be multiple products that can be listed by a particular technology showcaser. They can have again multiple product videos that they can display. There are 2 other tabs in the bottom which says incoming requests and communications initiated. So this particular profile, so the idea is anyone who is displaying a technology for partnership or collaboration or to find new markets or to find new collaborations in new markets will also be interested to connect with other people. So the seeker, the displayer and the seeker can be the same person to some extent. So the platform is built to kind of give that flexibility that if you are a displayer, you can also be seeking for connections with other people to collaborate or to find new partnerships across different verticals. So the communication initiated are the communications that as a seeker I have kind of interested to connect with this company. So I have clicked on that and you can see that this is the messaging board that I was talking to you about initially. So there is a 3-way messaging board between the company that has initiated the conversation and there is the company to which the conversation was initiated with and the GTI admin being there. And this communication happens with a tracker in the bottom which kind of gives you a sense of where they have reached as the maturity of the conversation as such is concerned. And this is tracked to kind of initiate or to kind of let them know which stage of the conversation they're in and what are the next steps that will be required for them to kind of strike a deal. So the idea is even this conversation, once I go to a different profile, I can go to that, I'll show it to you. So this is the dashboard as such is concerned. So the dashboard has the listing of the different products that is there within the platform that gets listed, and you can kind of filter it based on sector and you can kind of filter it based on subsectors. So the idea is basically based on what your interest is, you find the products that are there and the opportunities related to that. So once I kind of find a product that I'm interested in, I can go into that. It gives me the product details. And for that, if I want to kind of have a particular profile, if I say that I want to kind of follow this particular technology company, I can follow this, and any update within the platform from this company gets highlighted to me within my profile as well as an email. And I can also request for a connection to connect with this company. When I make a request for a connection, there is a context that is built and is sent again to GTI. GTI will verify with the company that I want to connect whether they want to actually connect with me or not, and then enable the connection to happen online. So there is no random request that comes in, and you're not bombarded by requests which is just like wanting to get to know you more, except for genuine requests which will actually result in a collaboration or a business opportunity. Um, so if I go back to my dashboard as the logged in user, I have these updates here. So whoever I followed within the platform, it can be profiles or it can be like specific products. Any update on that, I get an update in my dashboard directly. There is also the listing of online and offline events as I was talking to you about. So GBI can kind of host online webinars as well as list all the offline events that is happening on specific topics, and I can actually participate as a user, as a registered user within that on these events. So I can go and register myself and I can get alerts on it and I can go and participate. So these are offline events, and online events are basically webinars that is held. And the other functionality that is there as a user, as a logged in user, is what we call as Ask an Expert. So the GBI has multiple experts for handling different kinds of requests. So it can be from financial management, it can be from technology management, it can be in terms of business analytics, business strategy. So if I make a request to connect with an expert, I can, there is a request that goes to the GBI admin, and there is an inquiry in terms of what kind of expert do you want to connect in. Based on my, then I have another chat window similar to what you saw as a three-way chat that we saw. There's another chat window which gets opened along with the GTI admin being there, and I can kind of get that conversation going for whatever queries that I have and whatever clarifications that I have. And there's a tracker for that as well in terms of how much are how much is the expert guidance going to happen for me and everything else. So this is the technology displayer aspect as such. So if you see the profile, the reason I'm going through this again is I want you to see the difference between what it is for a displayer and what it is for a seeker. So now I'm going to just log out and log back in as a technology seeker. And when I log back in as a technology seeker, the seeker basically is giving what kind of opportunity or what kind of requirement he's looking at in terms of a partner. So the seeker does not have any products to display, but is only mentioning in terms of what is the opportunity or what is the different partnership requirement he's looking within the platform. And the seeker details are provided, and similarly there is no documents and everything else that the seeker uploads, but only the communications he's initiated and the communications that's coming into him based on the opportunities he's listed within the platform. So the idea is to have similar interfaces but with differences. So as seeker or as displayer, I can follow specific verticals. So when I follow specific verticals, any update on that particular vertical, be it a new product addition or an opportunity addition, gets alerted to me so that I know that there is something that's happening within the platform and I can go and kind of take a look at it. I can also, I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see the other side of the screen, but I can also subscribe to the platform as a registered user. So subscription basically means is there is an automated newsletter that gets generated every month. The newsletter picks up key aspects automatically from the platform in terms of different changes or be it news and events, online the updates that has happened, and sends it as a piece of newsletter to the registered user, who are then enticed to understand what is different things that's happening within the platform and come back into the platform to participate. So there are two different things that we have maintained in the platform. One is it has to be easy for them to find the information that they want, and not just stop with that, but actually make them come back again and start using it for even further requirements of theirs, and not to be just a one-time platform. And so those are the two things that we, so that's the reason we kept it very simple. So there's like a single page in which you get a snapshot of everything that you have to do within the platform as a seeker or as a displayer. So the final thing, before I go to the next thing, is I wanted to show you in terms of, so if I'm not a logged in user, if I'm not a registered user, I can still enter the platform. I can still see the listing, but if I have to kind of see any details or I want to participate within the platform, I have to be a logged in user. It will kind of force me to register or log into the platform for me to do that. So there is no place in which I can kind of directly go and just purge on information. I mean, like purge on information and try to do something offline. Anything that I have to participate within the platform is only available for a logged in user. So then there is we have a lot of real estate built where we can kind of showcase different partners. We can have so we have different real estate builds for the platform itself to be as a champion for people who want to kind of communicate about their presence. So for example, if you take GCCA, GCCA can kind of conduct webinars and through the platform itself. So there can be an event that is sponsored within the GTI platform where all users from across, whoever is a member of the GTI platform, can actually go through this webinar and participate and collaborate across. So this becomes like, you were just mentioning when you were initially talking about, multiple clusters being there in China, in Bangladesh and everything else. All of those clusters can actually be technically a part of this platform, and this becomes the hub for them to actually collaborate even further. Rather than just not talking on the phone, this becomes like a formal collaboration platform and a formal entity for them to kind of ensure that their collaboration happens. So just to kind of show you what a registration looks like, so there are two kinds of users, as I was saying. One is a seeker or a discoverer or a showcaser or a displayer. Based on the type of the user that you select, there is multiple questions or multiple things that you have to fill up. So it depends in terms of the type, the size of the client that you're looking for, partners you're looking for, turnover that you have, or funding you're looking for, opportunities, description. If you are a seeker, if you are a displayer, then you have the option to kind of add multiple products, as I mentioned, as I showed you in the profile, and multiple videos, and I can kind of upload documents here, and I can kind of mark it as post-NDA or pre-NDA. So the idea is basically if I mark it as post-NDA, then it is kind of salt encrypted and stored within the platform, and it's open only with a specific pass key that is generated. So if there is a requirement, so I'll show you that how that works. I'll probably log in as the user seeker, and I'll go into any profile that we just saw which had proprietary documents, and here it says you're not authorized to view the documents, click here to make a request. So until unless there is a specific pass key provided to me, I will not be able to see these documents until unless they are open documents that is being presented. So the platform is built in such a way that you can go into the platform, find the product or the information that you want. You get some gist of what you're looking for. If you're interested, you make a request to connect with that particular entity. GTI vets it from both ends to understand whether there's a need to connect with each other. Once that is there, there's an approval given, there's a chat engine or a messaging board that is open. Then the collaboration starts over there. As Lina said, this kind of takes care of the short-term goals to some extent, but the medium and the long-term gets taken off offline. So this is a thing that initiates them to the greater collaboration that happens offline. And the idea in terms of market validation, partner engagement in terms of finding the right partner for you to collaborate, technology participation, everything happens within the platform, and then everything else later is done as an offline entity. Once they have signed off the NDA and there's some documents shared, then they can probably exchange other details to kind of work offline, in which still GTI is still present to kind of guide them through it and based on their experience, tell them what are the next steps that will be required for it. So I've just run you through the platform very quickly. So if you have any specific questions, please go ahead. If I was going too fast and you're not able to catch up, please let me know. I will probably run it through again one more time.
Sure. Thank you, Ajay. I think that was quite comprehensive. So Al and Christian, if you have any questions. Al?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm thinking, Christian, I mean, I think what you're doing is very much, as we discussed before I saw the live version of this, or this demonstration version of it, I should say, very much in line with the work that Mark and colleagues in Little Rock are initiating with GTED2, which is to create a technology expo and deployment demonstration center where people can come. This would be a physical space in Little Rock and elsewhere, where people can come, kick the tires, see the technology, and begin to talk to technology providers and perhaps do deals. And what you're creating is very much within the spirit of what I believe they're trying to create. You're doing it virtually as a platform. And I think that's just a wonderful complementary aspect, which I think is really valuable. And in addition, for the summit, I think having a curated demonstration of this, and as well as some of the work that you're doing, would be sort of ideal. Now, I also know that Christian is working on something within GCCA, which is a platform. So I'll let Christian talk about what he perceives to be complementarities or differences, conflicts with what he's doing. But I'm excited by all this.
It's fantastic, and I don't see conflicts with this platform here. It's very, very complementary to what we do. So congratulations to Ajay and Lena. I think this is it's amazing how close or very similar our thought process were in the last years. Because, but before I go into this, maybe one question with the GTI. Because I'm really excited. I see exactly how we can collaborate already, even on that level, on the digital level. I can then explain that just in a minute. But the question would be, is the GTI the focus mainly on companies that are from your region or from India, or that want to go into India, or is it thought as a global platform, like for every company, every country worldwide? Or is it the focus on your home market?
Well, the vision is for it to be a global platform, so any company anywhere in the world, I mean, can display, and any company anywhere in the world can be a seeker. That's why it's virtual. I mean, when you do a physical center, which we've also done under a European Commission project, it's restricted at the end of the day to and it has its limitation, but it's very important. Like I said, the physical can really complement the virtual. But this is meant for companies from around the world. But having said that, the actual actions, Christian, will have to be curated depending on, where, once a company discovers what they want to do, we will want to, through the, offline work, we will want to guide them into, the markets that will work best for them.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that. And, I can, so maybe just to give you the idea, and then you see that we're like pretty much 100% aligned. That's why I'm very, very excited, because what you do with the GTI is pretty much like the open innovation seeker solver basic mechanism. And when I learned about open innovation like 12-15 years ago, when this first was published, by Eli Lilly here in the US, I was blown away, because this is what I was looking for in disrupting innovation and accelerating innovation, is like this digital collaboration that before was not yet possible, but today with today's technology is very easy to do. And when I launched GCCA with Nina Harila from Finland, we both said, the first years we on purpose had no digital platform. We knew eventually we will want to have digital platform, but first we said, like, the first 5 years we want to build just face-to-face. We want to build trusted relations. We want to see if we, among the cluster managers, even can become friends, to have this really strong, trusted base. Once we have the strong, trusted base, we can then add the digital platforms. And in 2013, as a pilot test, I will then send you the link, and you will see how the similarities are really very exciting. What we did with the Nordic Innovation Accelerator, we have two key services. One is the matchmaker, and this is exactly what you do, you know, with how the companies can present their products. That's exactly the idea, that SMEs and startups that have a solution, but they don't have a large corporate, for example, or a city or another customer yet, but they have a product and they have to push it to the world. So that's the matchmaker. And the second service, which is very exciting, a link also to, this is kind of what you have with your seeker process. We do it in a way that only large corporates and now more and more also cities as customers, they can publish as a call. So this is kind of like an open innovation call. So for example, the company in Finland, Fortum, they're looking for a new energy efficiency solution. Mm-hmm. And so far they were sourcing this only through their internal departments. And we then said, why don't you source through our GCCA cluster partners that we have in Finland? Fortum is a Finnish company. Yep. Only in Finland, you know, we were able to, that the Fortum got 3 times more quality submissions than when they were searching on their own, by reaching out to these 300-400 member companies of the Finnish cleantech cluster. So this Nordic Innovation Accelerator is the seeker platform. The seekers, they pay for these projects. This is also to your point, you know, to have it vetted. Mm-hmm. So we only have paying customers can actually be a seeker. Mm-hmm. But we then really manage these projects very, very carefully. The beauty now is that the Nordic Innovation Accelerator was so successful that we have now 5 clusters on the same digital platform. It's Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and Estonia. These are representing now around 6,000 SMEs and startups from the Nordic countries. So for you, if you have an Indian company that would like to reach out to the Nordics, this is one of the most efficient ways to reach out directly to these companies. I will have now the same platform then, because now we are ready to scale, and that's why I'm so excited about the timing. And when you go online this Friday, you know, we will have the same platform, the Nordic Innovation Accelerator, based on the same software in Switzerland by this fall, and also in Shanghai by this fall. And GTI is a perfect match. You know, we don't have the same software, but I think that I see very easy ways that, for example, if we have a challenge like Fortum, a company like Fortum that is seeking for something, that we could collaborate with you or come up with you with a process that this Fortum project will also be displayed as a seeker in your GTI. Because then we could even expand the reach. What for me, with the global platform, what your vision is, which I fully support, but there is one challenge when you collaborate with clusters. You know, clusters are always afraid that they will lose their relation to their local members, companies. And with GCCA, we on purpose never interfere between the relation of a local member company and their cluster organization, because we want to build strong clusters. And that's why we have these software platforms are always regional. You know, we can then behind the scene, if the clusters agree to that, we can then do data mining on a global level, because it's all the same software and the same data structure. But we on purpose, every regional software platform owns their own data, for example. So to make it a very regional story, and this is why we have all the support of the clusters. So this is maybe something we can then also discuss, but I'm blown away, Lina, seriously, like when you started discussing a little bit like how you work, and now that I know the seeker solver mechanism, we have exactly done the same thing with the same thinking, came up with a little bit different software solutions, but very similar. I see very good links there, and I will then send you the link to the Nordic Innovation Accelerator, maybe some additional information, because this will allow us to discuss how we can collaborate on that level. I see it very complementary and not as a competition at all. You know, with other platforms, I've seen a little bit also competing elements, but here I think it's extremely complementary.
That's great to hear, Christian. That's very encouraging, because Ajay and the entire and Harsha and my team will agree that there's been so much of thought been put into all of the problems we are trying to solve. It's very heartening to hear your feedback. And to your point about cluster managers wanting to stay in control over their companies, I love that fact, and I think it's a huge positive and not a negative. Because when a company joins us under the recommendation of a cluster manager, 50% of the curation is already done, which solves a huge issue for us. So in fact, we are, on the medtech side, which is the life science side, our key collaborator is the US FDA and Global Life Science Development Corporation of Maryland, USA. And they were in fact one of the when we are looking at curating medtech companies, it's very hard for us to know, even if we talk to a company here from India and go through their website, credibility is best established through a person, because there is only that much an online platform can do. But if I get, that's why we call it online offline, because so much of the credibility of for any company is going to come from people we know, and the people we know is the cluster manager. So it's half the battle won for us in this process, because at the end of the day, you can create tools, the tools can be really successful, but if, the people this is meant for is for the companies to access new markets, and anything that can help that process is beneficial to the entire activity, so that's so I really see that as an advantage.
I really do. I fully agree. And to your point of the cluster managers, for example, we launch every year. We realize the global the GTI later stage award. So we're actually looking for later stage, not early stage or startup companies, but later stage companies that have a product that is ready to deploy. And these cluster companies, they cannot nominate themselves, because I'm a marketer myself. I'm not interested in the loudest marketing story or the best marketing or PR agency that presents the company in a good way. I'm interested in the inside story. And the inside story we get only through the cluster management teams that know these companies over many years. Sometimes they went to school with those CEOs. And so only the cluster managers can nominate these companies. So we get a very different set. If the clusters could nominate themselves, we would have a very different set than what we have when we have the cluster managers nominating. So we get like a very pre-vetted set of companies every year. And this is also what I like about your system, that you have this pre-vetting system built in. And also the Ask the Expert, I love that, because it is exactly what we want to build up with the clusters right now. They don't have the capacities yet, but this is exactly, you need the regional then kind of taking the companies by the hand. And maybe why I'm also so excited is like the following. The seeker-solver mechanism, digitally supporting what we do in the real world, for me, is one building block of a bigger picture that Mark and I work also with Al. But Mark and I, when we met the first time in 2010, we thought about this new financing mechanism, and that Al and Eugene Yun from Korea and also Alec Jones from London, they all work on that. The idea is to find a mechanism how we can get the large money from the pension funds towards the companies. Today, no such mechanism is there. An idea that then came up also together with a good partner I work out is called the Multi-Asset Renewal Fund. What we do with these multi-asset renewal funds is to bundle companies. And this is the link to GTI, because GTI is a set of companies that potentially we might be able to reach out to put into a fund. What we do is we bundle 40 to 50 companies in one fund and make them investable for pension funds. So the goal is that these funds are around 500 million US dollars. We are right now, I can send you then also a link to the book that we just published last week in Helsinki, because in Helsinki we were able to realize this idea in a pilot project in the last 3 years, and the goal is to raise a $20 million fund by the end of the year. So this is then you know, what I could see as a second step in the next 2-3 years, maybe also for GTI, how we can then use the huge universe of data points of companies you have, you know, with SMEs, startups, but also large corporates on your platform, to see what of these companies might eventually be suitable to participate in such a fund, a multi-asset renewal fund of $500 million. That's my big picture long-term vision. We're not yet there, but with this Finnish project, we made now tremendous progress. And we have now Taiwan, for example, or also Canada that are interested to, Switzerland is already working on it, to redo what we did in Finland. So this would be then the financial mechanism behind, you know, that the GTI is a building block to make these funds possible. I can send you then a presentation describing these building blocks, and for me, I could see that GTI could become, like, we call them deployment hubs, D-hubs, GCCA deployment hubs, that GTI, even that it's not the same software, would be kind of like a D-hub in our GCCA system from the very beginning, because you will then be also, I think, blown away by the similarities of the solution that we came up with. And we tested this software since 2013 in Finland, and the software company behind it, I work with them since 2009. So this is a multi-year process that went into this, and we did many iterations and have now a system that is very nice. And I see very, very good connection points to GTI. The timing I'm a little bit blown away, actually. It's very good.
Well, we have Al to thank for that.
Yeah.
My pleasure. But I had a feeling from the moment I started talking to Lena, and of course I've been talking to Chris continuously, I realized that there was this connection there that needed to be cultivated, because it's obviously very productive for everyone.
Great. So, you know, I think it's...
No, so I think...
So should we just try and wrap up for now and then, you know, discuss some quick next steps so we can, you know, again, maybe regroup, you know, in a few days, weeks, whatever it is. So, you know, what do you see as the next steps? And, you know, so as you know, from our side, we're going to go live on July 1st. For us, after that, you know, we need to populate the platform with the technology companies. So, you know, any help and support from your side and ideas on how, we obviously have, you know, a network on our end as well that we're going to be inviting from all around the world to invite their companies to exhibit. But, you know, we would, you know, love to hear from you as to how you could support that. So, you know, populating it with companies, with tech companies, from the clean tech clusters maybe too. You know, we're also trying to find, identify, and work with, you know, organizations that would like to come in as stakeholders and sponsors to the platform. So we have, you know, different, you know, when we say stakeholder, we basically mean, you know, an organization that wants to collaborate with us, have, you know, their companies display technologies, also work with us very closely in, you know, getting collaboration. So really get involved, you know, with displaying, seeking, all of those activities. And also, you know, when I say sponsor, I mean any large corporates, governments that want to, you know, have their logos get associated as a sponsor. So these are our short-term goals right now once we go live. So I'd like to hear from you, you know, if you have any thoughts on next steps, how can we kind of build along, so we can really build a collaboration and, you know, have some real action, because that's what I'm really interested in, you know, how do we take this forward?
In terms of, from our side, I see two broad areas. One is integrating what you're doing into the agenda of the summit, and that's something near and dear to my heart, where I'm spending my time these days, getting that agenda and the documents sort of prepared and ready for public posting. And then the other one is the actual work of linking companies and seekers and solvers together, and that's something where more Christian and then Mark as well with the GTI and yourselves would work together. So I could see a two-track thing. These are a two-track approach. These are not independent of each other, and I'm involved and interested in being involved, I should say, in both. But I would propose that, and let me come back to you with ideas for the summit, and then as well we can get back to you perhaps with ideas for the actual platforms and linking of companies and technology seekers with solution providers. I should say in that respect that, you know, a technology seeker could be a city or a government as well as a company. So any organization could be seeking technology. Yep. And one of the things we're focusing on, and you probably noticed it, Lena, in the earlier version of the agenda that I sent you, we're looking at greening the global supply chain. And there, it's another area where people would be looking for all sorts of different technologies to solve all sorts of different problems with their supply chain to make it more sustainable. So we could think of all of these different things, how to put them together on the platform, but then also how to put them together at the summit, and how to highlight the issues at the summit.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I can maybe add from my side, you know, like Al, I fully agree. For the program in Little Rock, we should look at this absolutely. And I think this could be, you know, the panel that we discussed about the platforms, enabling platforms. That could be a very good fit for that. So for sure, we can Alan, you and I, we can then think of how we can make that work the best way. And with regards to GTI and GCCA, I will follow up with you maybe on 4 elements. You know, one that could be the easy step we could do immediately is if you learn a little bit more about GCCA and learn a bit more about you, that we can then say if you would want to become also a cluster in GCCA, a cluster partner. One, I think it would be a fantastic fit. We don't have to decide now, but I can then send you some information. The second one there would be if you have companies that you would like to nominate for the later stage award this year, each cluster can nominate up to 10 companies. So this would give you the opportunity to do 2 things. One, it gives visibility to your regional companies that you know. And we will then announce the winners, the 10 winners of this year's award in Little Rock in Arkansas. So this is the second benefit. Then also your cluster would be on the global map in Arkansas, in Little Rock at these events. So the cluster is the one thing, the award the second thing. The third thing would be what we call the deployment hub. I can send you the information about the deployment hubs. There we have maybe one difference to you. Every deployment hub is only populating their hub with regional companies. So in the Nordics, it's a big region. It's like all the Nordic countries. In Switzerland, on the hub in Switzerland, we will only have Swiss companies. And this we do for the reason that I described, you know, not to interfere with the GCCA clusters that otherwise think we want to kind of steal their company relations. Once we established then the trust also digitally, I can see that companies then on their own can choose where they want to be a part. So with the populating, I think we should first, once you see how we do the D-hubs, discuss how we could promote this to our clusters, not to interfere with their member relation. I highly value this. This is why GCCA is so successful. And the fourth element would then be, if you're interested to learn a bit more about the multi-asset renewal fund, you know, how actually the companies that you have in your database eventually could become a part of such a fund that then pension funds can invest in. This is a little bit longer term, but this for me, this is what I work on since 10 years. This for me has the biggest leverage in bringing large amounts of capital to companies that need the different kind of capital to deploy technologies that they have proven in their regional markets to deploy worldwide. This we need big amounts of money, and the big amounts of money need good returns. And both, pension funds, they don't make returns right now that they need to do because of the negative interest environment, which is not going to go away anytime soon. So pension funds are under huge pressure there to come up with new investment alternatives. And I think we found one solution for them. And so this would be the 4 elements. So to discuss how we could collaborate with you as our regional cluster, if you have companies to nominate for the award, the 3rd, the deployment hub, and the 4th, the fund.
Great, that's very comprehensive, Christian. I just had a question on the deployment hub. Are you going to be sending me some information? That's what you said, right? You'll be sending us some information on the deployment hub.
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, then we'll read about it, and yeah, all of the 4 points, are sound fantastic.
And I think, once you then see a little bit more about the deployment hub, then you and I, or we can then discuss, and also Ajay, we can maybe have one more call to see what we can do. And when you launch on Friday, so we have time then to think through. Yep. Also, for example, what we can do together until the Little Rock events in December, and this could then be, this is then again to you, Al, could be then a topic that we can show concrete in Little Rock, what we were able to develop in the next 4 or 5 months until December, thanks to our shared vision of this real-world collaboration and digital support platforms.
No, I agree. That's exactly what we want at the summit, is to talk about real solutions that are being implemented now, rather than philosophical and theoretical ideas that people have. We want to talk about concrete, specific, real things. So this would be absolutely right in the sweet spot of what we're looking for.
Okay. So I think it's been this has been a great first conversation. It almost seems like we've known each other forever. But anyways, yeah, it's a great start. So I guess we have all of us have our follow-up items. Let's be in touch on email. We can always talk. My contact details are all available. So Christian, if we or Al, if we need to do quick conversations on different things, do not hesitate, to call or drop me an email, and we don't have to do such a big webinar each time. We can have quicker, shorter discussions, to take things forward. So on that note, I would really like to thank everybody, and look forward to staying in touch and following up on everything.
Well, thank you very much, and sorry we kept you at work so late in your evening, but enjoy whatever remains of your evening, and we will be in touch, absolutely.
Yeah, and Ajay as well, thank you so much. I know, it's been a long day for you as well, so thanks for joining us. So let's be in touch.
Thanks, Lena, and
Okay.
Thanks, Christian, and thanks, Arab. Yeah.
Thank you, and all the best.
Very good, thank you.
All the best for the good launch on Friday. Congratulations.
Just before we cut off, I just wanted to add one more point. The technology that we have developed is in Java, so we have scope for APIs, what we call as process integration points. So if there's any other additional platforms that is available, we can integrate the platform with them and make it into a single entity also to work smoothly across. So that is a possibility that is definitely there. We can kind of take a look at what you're developing, and then we can take a call later.
Exactly, that's what I thought. Like also the software we have is a SA as a software as a service built up.
Exactly.
So
yes.
We have, for example, the software functionalities are exactly the same, 100%. Like backup, everything is the same. But for example, in Switzerland, I will have Swiss visuals, a Swiss kind of text. I have 4 languages. The Nina has only 2. In Shanghai, it's going to be in Chinese and English. So we have a small kind of at the surface differences, to make it like
see, that's exactly what I want to highlight. So this is also Unicode based. So the language translations and everything else can also happen within the same platform, within the GTI platform also.
No, I think that's why I think we think very much alike and came up with very compatible solutions. So I really, really like that, and look forward to that exchange in the coming days and weeks.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Christian. Thanks.
All the best for the launch on Friday.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, Lena. Bye.
Bye-bye.